Hello, everyone. Whew. I am a little late because I underestimated how much time it would take to get the freaking phone case off of my phone. It won't fit in the whatever, what is that thing called? The little rest thing otherwise that holds it. Just making sure everything's working. Since these plugins can be funny. Whoops. Riley! No! Get out of the window. She's being extra bad today. Okay. At least I know I got that one working. That's the only thing about this is I wish I had a smoother way of making sure that this was let me see. How the heck do I make you pop out so I can... Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. It should be getting to where it'll be working now. Yeah. Okay. Okay, got it. I think I got everything working. Okay. Plugin's working. Okay. Now that all that's done, like I was trying to say before, we'll just put that over there. Why the heck was my... Oh, wait. I unmuted the wrong thing. I have too many things. But anyways, I think I got everything good now. So, like I was saying, I was a little late because I underestimated the time I would need for things. And also simply because I didn't sleep. And I finally like started sleeping around 7 this morning, so it was a little funky for me. But anyways, I want to talk about a few things today. The first thing I want to talk about is the predictions I made for last week. This is a chart of Mercury going into Pluto, which happened on Monday. And if you guys remember from last week, I was saying that there's definitely going to be this element of things getting revealed that people don't want being revealed, right? And that's because with Pluto and Mercury, there's a lot of like this control over communication, making sure someone doesn't talk. So this can like look like an NDA. This can look like just being silenced for a long time. But then this like shift into things means there's a lot of things that were kept in the dark that are being brought to light that were just accepted as the status quo for a very long time. And you can see this in a lot of communities. If you are looking, like I actually have some specific examples and some videos we'll watch of some Riley, my kitten, is trying to break the window and she needs to stop. So anyways, what is going to be happening is I actually have some examples of this happening in different like industries. One of the industries I have is actually VTubing, because that is like an interest of mine, and it's really interesting to see a established corporation kind of imploding on itself. So I have a video that's showing the details of that, and plus I can go over the aspects that literally happened that day. Because I did say this was going to happen, and all of this really started going crazy literally hours after everything went exact that morning. So it really fell in line with the energy, as well as there's some other little like quirky things that I found as well that like show the lighter side of this energy. But the one that I found, like the expose, is it's the darker side. It's the being silenced. It's the psychological aspect of Pluto, and you know, the darker side of things, because Pluto is all those taboo subjects. And the thing is, this is creating a stir even in spheres that isn't VTubing, because people are coming to recognize some very almost borderline inhumane ways of being treated by a company, and seeing that it's the norm. Like I said, there's a lot of energy coming out of Capricorn where things have been established. This has been going on for years. This is the culture. And it's like coming into this energy is expose time. It's like, okay, what have you actually been doing behind the scenes, because no one really paid attention to it before. And then people just start coming forward and exposing different companies, or companies just decide to go a completely different direction. Like we've seen that with, you know, the changes that are happening with Xbox that got released last week too. They're relinquishing a lot of their power to do other things. And I think we're going to see that develop more and more as other planets start shifting this week into Mars and Venus, because they're going to be talking more on like money wise why it's important, and like their ambitions going forward, because that's like Mars and Venus energy. Recently they've just communicated the fact that they're changing, which is Mercury is like communicating a change with Pluto and transforming, like, you know, what they want to do as a company. So, but that's not what I'm going to talk about. What I'm talking about is kind of like juicy, and for some people is going to be triggering, but let me just dive in to basically this whole thing that's been blowing up everywhere, which is in the VTuber space, which is like virtual avatars. For those of you that don't know, I'm using one. There are companies that hold a lot of power in this space that are very well known for like having very huge talents. And by talents, I mean like live streamers that they like find through the auditioning process and put out like idols basically. And it follows that kind of culture. Now, the problem with this is this culture that has been kept very exclusively to certain parts of the world has begun expanding because they want more reach, right? So they've been expanding in the places where this culture of how people are treated is not the norm. Now, I'm not saying everyone in these countries does these things, but it's been seen with these corporations specifically in this niche that are doing this thing. And it's like hard to find corporations that deviate from the status quo that have been doing this for like years. Like it's the culture. And one of these companies, named named nijisanji, actually had a big falling out with a talent that blew up a lot bigger than they expected. And the thing is, this has been getting poked at for months now. Like, Twitter has been a hellhole with it. And what came out literally hours after Mercury and Pluto went conjunct was the notice that they were terminating this talent, who from the fan side has never done anything but good things, has only like raised up the company's name and like, you know, went above and beyond on her part. Now the company came out, and if you guys remember what I said about how, you know, Jupiter is squaring this energy over here, it's squaring the Pluto and Mercury. This does not, like I told you guys, this is foot and mouth syndrome. And this is saying way too much. This is getting way too ahead of yourself, trying to control a situation, because Pluto is all this control and manipulation, them being used to manipulating the masses and being able to put out things, and people just brush it off and go whatever because they have hundreds of people in the company. Now, what happened with this company, and I have a video to show you guys, I want you guys to remember these different aspects. One, the Pluto Mercury thing, this literally happened hours afterwards. And then also the square, where you will see the statement that they wrote is very lengthy. And like, that's what Jupiter does. It like grows energy. So this very lengthy spiel that, when the talent responded, said that they weren't even going to go into these details. They actually have a lawyer, so they aren't going to go into the details. But they were pushed to do it because of what Nijisanji did, which was their putting their foot in their mouths, because this person has proof of things. And she wouldn't be acting on the certain things she's doing, since she has like a lawyer's, whatever, the advisory, like on what she's doing. She's not going to be doing things like stepping out unless she really feels confident, like with what her lawyer says, that it's going to be okay for her to say certain things. And whereas this company is very full of themselves, they are very power hungry, and people have been doing things where, you know, the power of the people, which is Aquarius, which is like sink it, like, you know, sink that power kind of thing, which is where this sink the yacht thing came from too, with, you know, the billionaire owner of the place being made a clown and saying they want his yacht sunk, so just like boycott the company. Now, another interesting thing to remember is Pluto does rule, sorry, my kitten, but Pluto does rule this sense of like unease and like darkness, or like this kind of like bad, not necessarily like things just being bad, but it can do that since it is linked to like death and like things just basically dying off and things, you know, it can be some pretty deep dark stuff. And what this company is being likened to is a black company, which will be referenced throughout the video too, which is basically saying, you know, the very poor treatment of the people that they contract out, how they have to like work other jobs still, even though they're supposed to be very well-known livers, like top percent of whatever kind of people, but they're still having to work other jobs, have insurance outside the company because they don't offer it. You know, just all these things where you just realize the company doesn't care for the talent. And that's what's being pushed everywhere right now. And them having that kind of association and then just going out and like saying these things and just adding more and more fuel to the fire. Give me a moment, please. Sorry about that. Oh my goodness. It's this kitten. Okay, back to what I was saying. With the whole, I think my music wasn't up either, so there's that. But, anyways. Where was I? She's a very distracting kitten. So, them being known, and people like going into like these different sites like Wikipedia and like different things from different like countries, and just like pretty much editing words around them and like putting it in there. It's like, this is a lot of like the common people doing like an upsurping against like an establishment. It's very Aquarius energy. It's like they're rising up to support someone that they saw being virtuous and having like those qualities of like humanity that we all like really covet, which is what this streamer did, and like garnered her fan base in that way. So it's like people rallying around those things and pushing back against the corporate greed is very Aquarius. And this isn't over. I mean, it's definitely not over, because literally another thing happened yesterday with it was the new moon in Aquarius. She released a shop with stuff and was immediately selling out at the time of the full moon. So like she's like right lined up with all these major things. So it leads me to believe that as we follow more developments, there's gonna be a lot more that happens as these transits progress, because Pluto Mercury thing, she didn't even know she was getting terminated. They just came out and did that and forced her hand with everything that they said. So it kickstarted that. Full moon, she's come back, she's breaking like different records, doing different things, and she like puts her shop up for the fans, and it's instantly selling out. And this is before we're getting to Mars and Venus. This is like the prelude leading up to the Big Bang things, because Mars and Pluto energy is very, very eruptive. It's destructive. It's very, for a lot of people, it's very scary. But there is a lot of power with this. And to be honest, I would not be surprised if the company does another thing where, because Jupiter is going to be aspecting this, it's going to be squaring this. Like, let me just show you guys so you could see. Jupiter is going to be still aspecting Mercury. That whole thing, that whole problem with foot being in mouth. But the other thing that's pairing up with that is Uranus is also squaring Mercury. This is some very surprising, unexpected news happening the same day. This is Tuesday. Once again, early morning. So, oh my gosh, I would not be surprised, because this early morning thing, our time is like, business time over in Japan, which is where this company's located. And once again, if it's something where it's foot and mouth with this Jupiter thing and a very unexpected thing, they could easily release a statement again around the same time, very early morning, getting it pushed out there. That would be our time, but their time is like probably noon or something. So it's more like middle of the day for them. But it's like, it's gonna come out over here very early morning and explode again. Once again, they're gonna is not gonna be good. It's not. People haven't forgotten. I feel like maybe they're gonna think it's brushed over and they can do something, and it's just so unexpected, because Uranus energy is like this lightning bolt. It is very fast, and once it happens, it changes things. Like, you can't go back. So even if they release a statement and they try to take it back, there's no going back, because it's on the once it's on the internet, it's on the internet forever. And there's definitely going to be something here that's very unexpected that is going to continue this snowball effect that we've been seeing. Now, this also means that depending on how the liver responds, it could be good or bad for her, because this could easily be something that makes her very, very angry, because that's what Mars and Pluto does. It's very explosive with that anger, because Mars is anger, but it's also this feeling of knowing, like, Pluto's that control, and if you can have that self-control and control that anger, she can really like come out on the other side of this like crazy unexpected that's literally meant to rile her. I honestly feel to pick at her, break her down or something, and obviously that would not go over well. Now they'll obviously put it in Corpo like speak and everything, but people will understand. There's also this energy that's still going on between Venus and Uranus, which is this trine that's giving this unexpected encounter energy. Like, this could be an unexpected, like a surprise encounter with someone that you feel attraction to, or it could be like a surprise new friendship, just some kind of like relationship forming, or this could be a surprise stream of income. Now, because Venus isn't just relationships and stuff, it's also like our money. It's those nice things that make us feel comfortable and like we are we're living the life basically. So having like an unexpected thing come in that way, I could see whatever this is, if she can control whatever vitriol or whatever's happening, she could easily monetize, or something's going to come out of it where she can monetize something, and it's not going to what you call it, it's not going to be something she's thinking about at all, like at all. It's going to be left field. That's what Uranus energy does. It's very like out of bounds. You're not going to like really guess it until it's happening. Now, I want to go ahead and show you guys this video. So it's for those of you that don't know about it, you can see. Okay. So this is the video right here. And I'm going to play it and skip the certain parts just to show you guys what I'm talking about with the different aspects. Now,
Nijisanji English, the agency's English account, tweeting out this morning. Notice termination of Selen Tatsuki's contract with Any Color.
This, like I said, they tweeted, look at all that. They tweeted that out literally mere like less than an hour or a couple hours after the conjunction.
Hereby announce that we have had to make the difficult decision to terminate our contract with the Nijisanji EN Liver, quote-unquote, Selen Tatsuki, effective immediately due to repeated breaches of contract and misleading statements on social platforms. Attached is the detailed...
And if you notice, because Pluto energy is very propaganda, this is like that mega horn, like the siren going and like trying to like herd, like create a herd mentality. And if you see what they put here, they're trying to create a herd mentality around the fact that the reason we got rid of her immediately is she was doing a lot of bad stuff. And that's what they try to make it out to be here.
The explanation of the circumstances that led to this decision being taken. Thank you for your understanding and continuous support of Nijisanji and Nijisanji EN. This being a 3-page long document.
Like I said, Jupiter, that square, foot and mouth, could not shut up. This whole thing is a great example of someone that was in charge that definitely was not being aspected well by this. They just totally let the foot and mouth thing happen. Their lawyers were, if they have any, were not doing a great job.
Dated as 5th February 2024 and broken up into multiple sections. A beginning followed by a brand new definition of activity rules for affiliated livers, saying any color has established activity rules that our affiliated livers agree to comply with.
Now, the way this is put out, they really lay it on thick that they control their livers. That is very Pluto. And they're not realizing what they're coming off as here. Because, like I said, whoever curated, whatever group curated this statement, they were very much mob mentality when making this. There wasn't really an objective opinion to say, hey, this is how this is going to look. This is what it looks like to me. They just had a bunch of people that were heavily affected by that and got very emotional in the transit, which is definitely not advised to do.
With. These rules are designed to prevent infringement of third-party rights, leakage of confidential information belonging to any color or third parties, damage to the reputation or credibility of third parties, and other acts that may violate rights, engage in illegal activities.
Well,
As a company, to others affiliated with any color, disregarding the intentions of the activity rules. However, she repeatedly disregarded these warnings, often failing to...
Now, this... Like, the reason I skipped to this, they, like, obviously are going to lay out all this stuff about this is why they do what they do. This is their company, blah, 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 blah. Now, speed ahead a couple days, Twitter went ham on this thing and obviously brought a lot of things forward about, like, how they were completely inept at getting the use, the permissions, all that kind of stuff, and this liver that they terminated would go and do the things that their management team was supposed to do. And instead of things either never happening or taking forever, it's like she would push it along by being the one that would get people together and communicate and get things taken care of. And obviously a company that is very, like, heavy iron fist control isn't gonna like someone that has the enthusiasm to go out and do something like that. They kept trying to quash it, which is this repeated thing, because she did a lot of really big events, a lot of different things that she went and got permissions for herself because the company took a while, or she paid out of her pocket because the company never paid in their multi-billion-dollar company, which seems to be the running gag for a lot of corporations, where they just never pay people, and that's probably why they have money. So this right here is showing where they're trying to point out her flaws again, like, you know, create a witch hunt again against somebody.
Reciprocate communication with her managers. Additionally, Selene Tatsuki has repeatedly posted false, or misleading information on social media, insinuating that the violations of the activity rules were due to mismanagement by any color. In May of 2023, we sent a notice to Selene Tatsuki stating that any further violation of the activity rules or engaging in false, or misleading statements that could damage our company's reputation would result in the termination of our affiliation contract. However, she has continued to violate the activity rule.
This part right here, they're really laying it on thick that they were supposed to be the big, how can I put this? It's like they were this very giving, large corporal spirit for, like, giving her so many chances and, like, all this other stuff. And the thing is, the reason that this gets really gnarly in a way is because things happened to her that was not okay. There was an attempt She made an attempt, and you guys know what that means, on herself and was hospitalized. And they knew about this. They had documentation of these things because, you know, doctors and all this stuff that they had to see. So they knew she wasn't okay. She hasn't been okay for a while because she's in therapy. And like this whole thing is happening where they're saying, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. Like she can't talk. And that's what this is saying. It's like her being honest. They want her to be quiet. It is literally what it is. She's not lying because there is proof there. And that's where a lot of people have been coming forward with different things. People that she has worked with, people that know her personally. There is just like all this, like, just camaraderie coming forward, if that freaking word, all that's coming forward for her and trying to stop all of these things that this company is saying about her. Just, you know, because they're like this huge company and she's this one little girl where you're just gonna like throw all this negativity on her. And they even bring up when she didn't in this, that she was being harassed. She was never going to say this. This was something that she addressed because, you know, she didn't see this. She learned, they didn't tell her. They just did this. So this was a blind side to her. And they said a lot of things in here that she was not going to tell the public. She was just going to leave. She wanted to graduate, which is, you know, leaving the company on neutral terms and just go her way, and they would not let her have it.
Rules. So once again, just very quickly in review, Nijisanji now foregoing a bullet point list within their termination notices, and in this instance saying that Celine was not following their activity rules since her debut in July of 2021, even now dating May of 2023 as when they warned Celine that she could be terminated. And now on the second of 3 pages, we have another section entitled Events Leading to Suspension of Celine Tatsuki's Activities, stating that all times are in JST, and now stating, amidst the aforementioned circumstances, on December 26, 2023, Celine Tatsuki posted a music video on the Celine Tatsuki Nijisanji EN YouTube channel without prior approval as required by the activity rules. The materials for the music video were shared for the first time with our management on December 24th. Since some elements in the music video lacked proper authorization.
Now, all of this music video that they're using, that's also been debunked. That she literally paid the people in the music video herself, and then also that the permission was given for the video back in 2022. So this is something that's been worked on for a very long time. All the permissions were gotten a long time ago, and they're like using this, and a lot of people speculate it's because she had art that was made of people that had graduated or left the company previously. That was a big controversy. So that's what people are thinking got the video actually taken down, since there actually wasn't a permissions thing.
On December 25th, we communicated to Celine Tatsuki that permission needed to be obtained from relevant parties, requesting her to wait before releasing it. Despite this, Celine Tatsuki disregarded the notice and proceeded with the unauthorized posting. Our immediate response was to make the music video private until all authorizations were confirmed from our end. This particular music video being cleared by both the song's creator and producer, that producer telling TBS directly that written authorization had been provided all the way back in August of 2022. At the same time, the reasoning was clearly explained to Celine Tatsuki. However, Celine Tatsuki took to social media, specifically X, making misleading statements that omitted essential context, notably saying, quote, management has privated the song. Furthermore, Celine Tatsuki's post includes a statement encouraging third parties to re-upload the music video, which breaches any color's, quote unquote, guidelines for secondary creation.
Now, this right here, this energy that she's in leads me to believe she's either got an Aquarius midheaven or north node. She got something very Aquarius in her chart, obviously, with all this happening. But she told people it's pretty much like a Robin Hood energy. And the thing that's very interesting is like, it's very much an F the rich mentality. And it's like all this work was put into it and you want people to see it. It's like, you know, it's really sad because it's like the video would have never been seen if she wouldn't have done that because of everything that was happening. If you think about it that way, it would have never been seen. And more than likely all of this still would have happened. And like, it's just amazing that through all this, because she was at her breaking point during this time, you know, so through all this, she was still being like strong for her community, which is very Aquarius. And even though she was being dogpiled on, it's like she still was wanting to speak up for people that have always like supported her. This is very Aquarius energy, like supporting that group, the community, like all that stuff, very Aquarius energy.
Article 1, Paragraph 2. These actions led to various misunderstandings that damaged the reputation of both Anycolor and Nijisanji English. In an effort to calm the situation, we sought to either publicly disclose the reasons for making the music video private or have Selene Tatsuki disclose them herself. While being mindful of Selene Tatsuki's physical and mental health, management did their best to communicate with not only Selene Tatsuki herself, but also her emergency contact. However, despite frequent communication with Selene Tatsuki's emergency contact while remaining considerate of her situation, we were unable to come to an agreement on how to proceed. The decision—
Telling you guys, technology has not been my this is the background music, by the way. I always credit them in my stuff, but for some reason this decided to do this and doesn't want to go back on there now. Hello? There. My goodness.
was made to temporarily remove her access to accounts on various social media platforms and video distribution services under the name Selene Tatsuki. So once again, Nijisanji confirming that they locked Selene out of her accounts, but interestingly not giving us a date when that lock happened. And now we have another section, termination of affiliation contract. After attempting to address the aforementioned situation and communicating with the legal counsel representing Selene Tatsuki, that's right, she lawyered up, we conveyed the necessity for Selene Tatsuki to inform—
I just want to say court dealings and all this shit is ruled by 8th house. And Pluto naturally rules the 8th house. And having that going up with yeah, just pair it up. Pair it all up together with Pluto. And it's like, it's just swinging everything around into one conglomerate of like, just, you know, the treatment, the mental, the psychological treatment, very Pluto. Also, you know, the attempt, life or death kind of thing. And then also Pluto, the whole thing with, you know, court, lawyers, contracts, all this kind of stuff. Contracts is 7th house energy. But when it goes into this realm, it becomes more 8th house, which is Pluto. And Venus is getting pulled into this, and Venus rules 7th house, which is contracts too. So yeah, it's all getting wrapped up together. It would be something if what happens next week with the Venus conjunct Pluto has to do something with contracts and them trying to exercise some part of a contract they believe they have with her and it blowing up in their face. That would be interesting.
the public about the reasons behind our decision to make the music video private. Additionally, we expressed to Selene Tatsuki our expectations for future compliance with the activity rules from here on. Despite our efforts, Selene Tatsuki demanded that any color should be held legally responsible. She claimed that she was no longer able to engage in her activities as a liver due to the decisions made by any color, was being harassed by other affiliated livers due to mismanagement, etc., while refusing to acknowledge her responsibility for violating the activity rules.
That part right there is the part that hinged a lot of things, because them bringing that up brought up a remark that her lawyer told her that she was, you know, put in this position to say. It was something that was drafted ahead of time, with the condition she was in the hospital. So they were drafting these things while she was in the hospital, and a smart move on her part was getting a lawyer and having things herself. But this is what they put out that really sparked a lot.
Moreover, Selene Tatsuki insisted that if the negotiations did not progress, she would proceed to release a statement regarding her claims to the public. And so now we have Nijisanji English forwarding on this claim by Selene, stating that she was being harassed by other affiliated livers due to mismanagement. As now finally, we reached the third and final page. Reading, any color believes that the claims raised by Selene Tatsuki are in fact referring to situations that arose when she was warned about her breaches of the activity rules.
This right here, this energy is very, you stepped out of line and got what you deserved. It's like, this is the company saying that she deserved it. And Pluto, I mean, if you guys haven't been seeing it yet, Pluto and Mercury square Jupiter. This is a huge foot and mouth. Huge foot and mouth for them, on top of like the 3 freaking pages they wrote that went on forever instead of just bullet points why it was over. This would have probably been the time for them to say as little as possible. And instead they went the complete opposite way, which was less square to Jupiter. Complete overindulgence in everything they were saying. And they did it all to try to keep up this, how can I say this? This facade of control, and that they have this full control over all the autonomy of their livers. And it's like, if you're reading between the lines, which a lot of people have started to do, it seems very unethical, which is what Pluto is bringing to light in Aquarius, is bringing the unethical and the inhumane treatment of humanity. Like, Aquarius is humanity, and like how things are going, the status quo, and how it's being treated, and how it needs to be systematically broken down, because Pluto is destruction. Pluto and Mars together happening on Tuesday is a lot of destruction. And we still have Jupiter squaring off freaking Mercury. There's gonna be more things. It wouldn't surprise me if they put out another statement that's just as freaking long, because they got their freaking buttholes reamed when they put out a tiny sentence for their people that are investing in their stock market, which 8th house matters, Pluto matters, stock market has been dropping, and it just keeps doing that. And they're putting out this thing saying, hey, terminating her isn't a big deal. They called it negligible. Like, it's not going to affect us at all. And what this is doing is it's igniting this fire under a lot of people that aren't even a part of her community, that are just angry at the fact that a human life is negligible because there was an attempt on her life. So it's bringing a whole different community into the fight for her that probably wasn't there before. There's like a lot of rallying together in Aquarius energy, a lot of rebellion, a lot of revolting. There's gonna be, which it's been happening, because Aquarius also rules like it's kind of like Gemini in the sense with like merchant kind of energy, but it's like the longer trades, and Aquarius is the internet trade. So having this kind of energy is going to be shifting what has power, which is what Pluto is, and it's shifting it more into the community like the people have the power as opposed to this billion-dollar corporation, which is what we're gonna see as this keeps unfolding. Because if they keep sticking their foot in their mouth and being emotional with their walls of text that they're putting out for everybody as a corporation, then what's gonna happen is their downfall. It's lined up like that. And another interesting thing to look at is Nijisanji is a company that came out in February of 2018, giving it Aquarius placements, which means this coming around to them can mean a lot of destruction if they don't start doing the transforming that's needed. Because Pluto is about transformation. It won't completely destroy something to oblivion to where it can't come back if it shows change and transformation, which is what the people are calling for. They're saying treat your talents better, do better is what they want. Now, if the do better doesn't happen and they keep doing worse, then that's downfall. But if they can get over their emotions and being wrong, because that's what this is coming down to, is a lot of feeling like they don't have control and they're wrong, they need to get over that. If they cannot get over it and move forward with more humility, you know, being humble, having like that detachment, which is Aquarius, like detaching yourself from the situation and saying what's better for the community, because this is a community, then they lose it and it goes somewhere else. It's rebuilt somewhere else. If they cannot go through with this change that is being called to them, then it's just, you know, it's destruction. And we're going to be watching that unfold. Now, Pluto is in Aquarius for like, I believe it's like 15, like it's less than 20 years. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. I think it's like 2034 or something when it goes out. I could be wrong, but no, I'm probably wrong on that because it's only 10. Yeah, I can't remember. I'm probably thinking of some other date with other stuff I've stuck in my head. But with this being in Aquarius, it's going to be sitting on them as a corporation. It's going to be tearing things down, and unless they can do what's needed and what's being asked from their community, much like this Liver is, because all she's ever done is stuff for the community, which is why she's held in such high regard in this energy. Like other Livers that have always been about the community and not really like about themselves, like being the shining star spotlight and things like that, they're going to be the ones that are rising. The ones that have always been giving everything to their community, saying it was because of their community, like being risen up in that way, because it's going to be power of the people, not power of the singular person standing on stage or the power of the singular corporation. It's going to be like this thing where things are broken up. And it's going to show just how powerful it is, especially like how I was mentioning earlier with trade stuff. This company, like there's been multiple people that have been speaking out about not liking the mistreatment and saying, I am dropping, like I'm not doing merch with this company. I'm not doing any videos of this company. Like a lot of this type of like community, the VTuber community, really hinges on the support of the fans. It's a very fan driven thing. Fan art. There is fan-made merchandise. There are companies that spring up solely to support VTubers and like getting their merch and stuff out. There are all these types of things. On top of them branching into other things like PCs and different things like that. But there's so much that is just turning on them and saying like, no, we aren't going to be supporting this. And that's pretty much what's going to happen, is people are going to side with the people. There isn't going to be this thing where everyone's like, yeah, I'm going to side with the Corpo. And to make matters worse, you know, Pluto, 8th house energy, is other people's finances and stuff. And, you know, the stock market and everything, and how even if they're not saying something and just people that is like their job as analysts to say things and like releasing statements that really make it very minuscule, like anything that can happen on like this side of things, like, you know, the branches to different countries, because it doesn't really add up to a lot of their revenue. Is just pissing people off more, even though that's not even associated with the company itself. It's just some other company doing their job and like being very like no emotion, completely detached, and just listing things that are facts and then that's making people emotional, but it's like more emotional towards the company, where it's like, oh, so this is why they treat them like they don't even matter because they don't make them money. It's like that. It's like it wraps the mentality that way. Like there's a lot of psychological just mess that gets unearthed. And Aquarius energy is very fast. It isn't Capricorn energy. It's not slow. It's not trudging. It's not going to take years for some development to happen. Aquarius energy is linked to Uranus, and it is very rapid. It is ruled by lightning, like the lightning strike. It makes it to where things are just known. Now, having this also makes it to where things, when they're going to change, they're going to change fast. It's not going to be the slow moving like energy like we've been dealing with, like where something gets uncovered and we're like going years without. No, there's none of that. There's going to be quick turnaround, and then other things are going to come up. Quick turnaround, other things are going to come up. And that turnaround is getting stuff fixed. It's like the destruction of something that's not working, or the transformation of something that will work better. You can see that with Xbox, because they're leaning like, hey, this hasn't been working for us. Let's lean into something else. The people that are traditionalists, that Capricorn energy that have been following them and like complaining like 15, 10 years, whatever, that's the whole time Pluto's been in Capricorn, guys. They have become attached to this traditional thing, which is not making Xbox money. That's what their fan base has become attracted to or attached to, or whatever it is over the years, is just that. And that's Capricorn energy, just being very stuck doing the same like traditions and things like that, like always sticking with the same console, the console wars, and like the control over, yeah, all that kind of stuff, right? But Xbox seems to be moving a different way, something more Aquarius, something where they're more like distributory, which is very Aquarian, is putting their stuff everywhere, putting it in many different groups so that it's not just this singular thing, which is very Leo. It's like just that one thing, and you have to have that one thing to do anything. They're like, we'd rather just spread out and just, you know, try different things, which is very Aquarius. So it wouldn't surprise me if they do better with what they're going to do, even though they're going to have fans that are like, but I'm not it's like a thing of feeling important. They'll get over it. And if not, the change they will make into being more like Aquarium, where like it's more of a share community type thing, where they're like more publishing and doing things like that. If that's what they're going to be doing, then what's going to happen is they are going more the technology route, the more like higher information route, instead of trying to be stuck into one console, gatekeeping, all that kind of stuff, which isn't very Aquarius. So it's like they will be seen more highly in this energy and actually come out. It might take them a couple of years because, you know, Pluto is very turbulent, and going from something that's a tradition to something new, there's always going to be people that fight it very hard and get very emotional about it. And having Mars going through everything next week when they're going to be announcing things, it would not surprise me if they get a lot of angry fans, a lot of backlash, because of that whole Mars situation. But there's also going to be some components that are smoothed out with Venus, because Venus energy is a lot more nourishing and just calmer than Mars. It's like just a lot more receptive than trying to fight. So it might not be very accepted at the beginning of the week, but towards the end of the week, people will come around and see the vision a little better, because that's what Aquarius energy is. It's the vision. It's holding the vision and being able to do something that hasn't been done before. And it's like there's a lot of debate about like what's trend-setting energy. I would say Aquarian Uranus energy, it definitely leads more to just making an original trend. It doesn't necessarily lead to the risk taking, which is Sagittarius, because Aquarius is more like just it's like rebelling to like stay true to your cause. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to take risk. Like if your cause isn't really like risk taking worthy, is not going to be like you're rebelling into a whole lot of risk. But the Sagittarius energy is all about expansion, taking risk, doing things that are out of the box. So while an Aquarius may create a trend, the Sagittarius will go crazy and try to rock the trend and do things with it and like have fun with it. Whereas the Aquarius will be more detached from it and just be like, yeah, I made this thing. And then other people get riled up with it. So they might not even be credited as the original person because they weren't as big in the risk taking with the trend. So just something to like look at with energies. A lot of Aquarius energy could be like new original ideas coming to the forefront, new ways of conducting business, new ways of connecting in relationships, new ways of going after the things that you want to go after, because a lot of things are going to be advanced so rapidly that those options are going to open up and change, and what we knew a couple years ago isn't really going to be the norm anymore. It's just going to keep rapidly changing. It's going to be like we're part of something completely different now. But that's why I wanted to talk on these things. The Liver did, I don't know what that is out there, but the Liver did respond to oh, well, that's loud. That scared of me. But this Liver did respond, and you know, did the response where, you know, things, I think it is over here. Yeah. So she responded to a few things. Very Pluto right here. I will not be silenced anymore. This is where she talks about all this for what happened, the attempt, the bullying and everything, and how she requested to leave. And it's like, this is what sent a lot of people, because obviously she hadn't said anything first. She didn't even know about the termination. The Lunar New Year is very important to her, so she wanted to, you know, move forward with things. This is very Aquarius, by the way. It's like, you know, yeah, all this crap happened, but can we please just move forward and like break away from this and like have a new life? It's very Aquarius energy. Like being able to just, you know, yeah, this happened, but I want to like detach from it. I don't want my identity to be this thing, and I want to be able to be free and go and do things, because Aquarius is freedom, and having this freedom is very important. And it doesn't come with because if you think about celebrities, they do not have real freedom, because there's always the paparazzi being followed everywhere, everything that they're doing being scrutinized. That is not Aquarius energy. That is spotlight energy. It's very Leo energy. Now, the energy is, you know, that she is in has always been more about the community. She wants to be with everybody. She just wants the moving forward, the detaching, instead of like being attached to everyone's reactions to her and everything, like just start new kind of thing. And this is, you know, she's in the energy that is being accepted more here, which is why things are flowing more for her, whereas the company's doing the jarring thing where they shouldn't be doing that in this energy. It's like literally seeing both sides of it. Now, she is keeping this. This also was her Oshi mark, but she's an Oshi mark is something that denotes the person, and I think this is very important for her to keep this trophy here, because she is a winner, and that, believe it or not, this definitely has been a huge campaign that a lot of people have been pushing, that she is winning and the company is losing, and a lot of people are pushing for this and making it reality by like giving her a debut to 130k people, like coming back and like seeing everybody, and then having a video with over 1 million views within a day. It's like there's this thing where they're like, this is where my support is, and that says a lot. And she's shooting up in the ranks of people very quickly compared to people in the company, because people are trying to show where they're putting their money where their mouth is. And And that's what companies listen to, is when people start putting their money where their mouth is, not when they're just like like the virtue signal thing to virtue signal. No, this isn't happening with her. It's literally like a community. What the heck, car? But anyways, so she's being surrounded by a huge community. Now, this is still very ongoing. There's been a lot of good news for her that's coming out of this. Obviously, she's still in a delicate state because all this has been happening very fast to her. But she's rolling with it. She's going to keep continuing to push forward, which is exactly what this energy wants. And she's going to keep, you know, reaping the rewards for it over and over. If she can control whatever's going to happen next week, whatever emotion that they're trying to evoke out of her next week, if she can control herself and remain humble and like staying like close to her community, she's gonna come through it completely unscathed, and if anything, with a new way of making money that she wasn't even considering whatsoever. So there's definitely something here for her. I wouldn't know exactly where it's coming from because I don't know what her chart or her placements are like at all, but if I was to somehow have it, like, it would be really cool to like be able to match it up with everything. The only other, like, there's a couple other things that really match up with the energy, which is there was another, and this person used to be in I'll look how it popped up first, but this guy right here, he used to be in this company that's doing this, and what's happened is he left, he joined a different company where he has a lot more freedom, and he did a face reveal the same exact day that this happened. And since he does it in the time zone that's more like over there, it literally lined up with the Mercury Pluto conjunction, you know, reviewing some revealing some taboo information, because in the VTuber sphere, showing your face is like one of the less done things. It's like, don't break the character kind of thing, because everyone uses things different. But the pioneering side of this is like, you know, he even did a thing like why I did this. But this whole thing is like being able to take back autonomy, being able to show I can do both things instead of being pigeonholed, because he was pigeonholed, and the reason he left is he didn't have his freedom, which is very Aquarius. And a lot of his stuff was happening when Pluto dipped into Aquarius back in March, and a lot of things were coming up. And I think his announcement actually for leaving the company happened when there was a dip into Pluto in Aquarius, and then he like did a graduation and left. And so now he's doing this Pluto and Aquarius conjunct Mercury thing where he's like, I'm doing the thing people thought I wasn't ever gonna do, which is reveal my face. And it's like he's gonna be doing IRL content on top of being like still having his virtual avatar and everything. So it's like he's being more himself, which is very rewarded in Aquarius energy. And it's like he didn't know that pretty much at the exact time he was doing this, that Nijisanji was doing that. And like really the way things parallel and line up together, and this shows like the lighter side of the energy where like you're coming into your own, you're very like happy with the community you have, you feel like you can share and be yourself. This is very Aquarius. So he's really showing the lighter side of this, like revealing something that was hidden, which would be his face. So it's like, it's really showing like the lighter side of things. So, but yeah, I just wanted to touch on that, and, you know, the other topics that I did with this, and let you guys know a few other things that will be happening this week. So I already talked about Mars going into Pluto, like conjunct with Pluto, because it's going into Aquarius. So I already talked about that energy, how it can be very like heavy, it can be very scary, very destructive. It's very, very powerful. It's also about having that control of your anger in the right situations, and it actually really leading to very good outcomes for you. And also this right place, right time, meeting the right person kind of energy, very unexpected surprise energy, whether it comes from things you say or it comes from people you meet. If it's coming from things you say, more than likely you're sticking your foot in your mouth and you're saying a little too much, so just think about that. But if it's more like you're being reserved, you're in control of yourself and what you do, because Mars is like what you do, it's your action. If you're in control of your actions and you're using it wisely, you know, that wisdom that comes from Jupiter, then you will be able to make a big impact, a very powerful impact, which I feel is going to be something we're going to be seeing in this space with this upcoming energy. The other thing I want to talk about is when Venus, which this is happening Friday, like I said, like that whole Xbox thing, it'll probably get a little easier for them come the end of the week. But with Pluto conjunct Venus, what is happening here is, well, there's a bit of things. just to be a little, the moon is going to be in Taurus. It's exalted in Taurus. It really likes being in Taurus. It's creating a lot of like harmonious aspects to Pluto and to Venus and to Mars. Like it, even though it's like the later part of it, it's still a trine, and it's creating this very almost like being very serene with your emotions. Like I said, the beginning of the week starts off a lot more volatile, and the week becomes a lot more calm. It's just because there's a lot of aspects that are really calming our emotions that were not there earlier in the week. They just were not. And that's why like having that control over like what you actually are doing and the actions you're taking is so important in the beginning of the week. Like you can have whatever emotions you want in your head, but the action you take is going to have a direct impact, and that's why it's important. And it can show up in relationships, because like going to a personal level, we have to be careful not to just harm those around us with the things we're doing and the things we're saying, because that's also Mercury saying way too much. Everything I have been saying that goes to these corporations and stuff, these big ideas I've been talking about, they play out personally. It's not like just they're the only ones getting affected by it. You got to think about how this is playing out in your life. Like if at the beginning of the week you're an angry little like of a person, you know, and you're just taking that out on people, you're not working this energy right. You are not like controlling, like being in control of the actions you're taking against other people. You need to harness this appropriately, because what you could end up doing is wounding a relationship that is very good to you, because there's these good placements going to Venus this whole week. So if you do something that's like out of character or something, you could end up wounding something that's actually really good for you, something that really stabilizes you, something that really helps you with being able to deal with like your day-to-day stresses, if that makes sense. It's like you're gonna realize, if you know, if you're able to like, you know, keep things inside a little better this week, that towards the end of the week it was really worth it, and that like things that come to light later in the week, because you know Mercury is still doing this square up here to Jupiter and Uranus. There's still gonna be like left field things flying out of people's mouths, and after this, you know, Jupiter is now squaring Mars on top of Pluto and Venus. It's like you could do a little too much, like in a big way, which isn't good. Like this is like saying the wrong thing with a lot of bravado, and like not like realizing how much you have totally screwed up. And the thing is, this is stuff that brings you a lot of emotional security. This is stuff that really helps you like be at peace with, like, or at least relationships, if it's not comfort items or something, that helps you be at peace with yourself. Now, another way to look at this can be getting more comfortable with breaking away from things that aren't good for you, because the moon, our comfort, and then having like our drive and like, you know, having like the security and everything, having like the control with these things is a lot about fighting through, you know, that very icky voice, that mental attitude that a lot of us have. Because Mercury having these squares is a lot of, like, on a personal level, depending on your placements, can be a lot of rapid, unpredictable thoughts. It can be sleeplessness. It can be just erratic behavior. It really depends on the person. But it really comes down to you're being given opportunities to learn discipline in these areas, learn how to put more love into this area of yourself. It can be very transformative for you on the level of your relationships to others, because you're figuring out something very deep about yourself that you either want to have more discipline over, or you want to have more structure within your life instead of just it controlling you willy-nilly. And that's a very powerful aspect of Pluto, especially since we have Chiron and the North Node conjunct, like exact degree up here right now. There's a lot of healing of the self really being pushed out for people. It's like, just do this thing. And wherever this is in your chart, it's really going to be amping up. Like wherever you have the Aries energy in your chart, like about like the middle of the Aries energy, if you have anything a few degrees either way of those, you're going to be feeling it very heavy, or also having like squares and oppositions. It's going to feel like it's just a very like harsh aspect of your reality to be dealing with these wounds that keep coming up over and over and over, and like you're having to like work through them. Personally, I have this in my chart where this by a few degrees is squaring both my Jupiter and my Chiron. So I have double Chiron, and it's squaring, and and it's in my 10th and 12th. So it's like a lot of these wounds around just my deep subconscious, like being my own worst enemy, and how it's affected everything that's 10th house related, and like being thrown out for me to have to work on over and over and over again, and it's not fun. But that energy is also squaring a lot of stuff that I have in Capricorn, and that's not fun either. So like I was saying, it's wherever it is for you, it's really like not letting you get away from where you need to stand up for yourself and take charge of situations to go after what you want in life, and like heal the wounds you have around those things, especially whatever area it's in. But like I was saying, this is like the end of the week. It does get softer. If you've been working with this energy, you'll kind of know what it feels like, and it'll feel easier to like work through this and have more love put into each of these situations than how it was before with, you know, last week and going into the beginning of this week, and just feeling like this buildup of like needing to spew out some very, if you feel like you need to say some very mean things to somebody, please write it down first. Please get it out written first. Don't just go to that person, let it all out, and then burn. Like, this is energy where you can just burn the crap out of all your bridges if you're just feeling like being like completely irresponsible with it. But if like, hey, if that's your like motto, then like, hey, go for it. I guess it is very conducive for burning all the bridges you want. But let me see if there's anything else happening this week. Yeah, this is Sunday. I can talk about it a little bit. I'm gonna talk about it more next Saturday, since this is going to be a Sunday thing. But the energy is going to be starting to shift slowly, because the sun is going to be moving into Pisces. It's going to be like getting close to Saturn and like moving past Neptune. So things are going to be becoming more dreamy, especially as Mercury moves further and gets into Pisces as well. There's going to be a lot of energy about just being more daydreamy, being more whimsical. Like this also can help with some of the harshness we've been feeling, because you know, some of these squares that have been going to this Sun and Aquarius energy, where it's just, we just keep feeling like our heart is like being put through the ringer, and like every time we like open ourselves up, it's like we're given something else that we need to work through, and there's just pain there. It's like this gives us a lot easier, especially with the trine coming up to the moon in Cancer. There's just this 0 degree trine between both, which is very beautiful that same day, and it lets us just be soft for once, because that has not been happening with the Sun for a bit. It's been squaring all this crazy stuff that's been happening along with Mercury. It's just not been having a good time, and now it's more playful. It's able to be a little more like just go with the flow instead of, and if you feel like getting a little emotional, it's gonna be easier than feeling like everything is just so dry. There's gonna be like a little water in the desert, basically. It's like a little oasis that kind of comes in. It calms things just seem more calm, and which is a good thing, because you know, Jupiter's over here amping it up with everything. we're gonna need a little something that calms us down. At least emotionally, we're feeling more at ease. And I do want to say, for anyone that has it's gonna okay, this yacht over here, anyone that has a really early, like late degree Scorpio, early degree Aquarius, I'm not Aquarius, Sagittarius, my brain was blanking, but if you have placements around right here by 1 or 2 degrees with this moon, so you're either gonna have like 28 degrees Scorpio to like 2 degrees in Sagittarius is what we're looking for. You're gonna be forming, those placements are gonna be forming a yod to the moon, which could be very potent for you, and it's gonna be something that only lasts for that day, because it's gonna move very quickly, so it's only gonna last for this day. And this whole energy for you is gonna be about whatever your planet leg is over here, whatever it is. It could be many different things, obviously, but whatever's over here is gonna be pumping energy into this moon, this transit moon. And it's also gonna be comboing with both Venus and Pluto, which could mean a very emotional connection to somebody, very deep, very intimate, that is just very life-changing. Because this is a pivotal point. This is a yod, a finger of God moment. This is something that you aren't the same after. And to understand how these points play out, you have to look at the planets you have in those degrees and then see how that energy pairs up with Pluto and Venus, because they feed into each other and then shove all that energy into that moon. And this is going to be happening like later at night. So this is going to be like Sunday, like 11 Eastern, so a few hours before, a few hours going into the next day, there's going to be something happening. Now obviously it's going to be different for everybody. I'm hoping with Pluto in here, for some of you it's not the darker side of things that are very emotional and like just change, which you know what that is, it brings grief. But I'm really hoping that for most of you that's not the case. But like I said, it's when you have the placements that I was talking about, which is going to be from 28 degrees Scorpio to 2 degrees Sagittarius. This is what's going to be happening that Sunday night for you guys specifically, if you have placements there. If you don't have placements there, then disregard that. That's a very specific thing for people who have that. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end here for today, since this is going to be picked up more next week. I hope you all enjoyed the little tidbits and being able to put astrology to things that are going on in different spheres, in different communities, different corpo niches. Can't talk. Corporo niches. But yes, I will see you all next Saturday. And I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Bye.